This is David with High Performance Stoicism. Today I want to tell you this: just overlook it. What I want to encourage you to do, what I want to challenge you to do, is overlook much of what other people say and what other people do. In so many situations, the best solution for someone doing something annoying, someone saying something ridiculous or silly, is just to overlook it. And this can even be true in a great number of cases with the people that we're dealing with, because we're human beings, we're foolish. And so, even people, for the most part, we get along with, they can have foolish moments. And what do we usually do? We think, I can't let this go. I have to say something. I have to respond. I have to set the record straight. Well, we're going to talk about an option that, for many of you, is going to be a new one. And I think you're going to agree there's a lot of value in doing this. And I'm going to ask for you to report back to me when you try it out. Marcus Aurelius says in a really interesting passage, he says, there is much that we should overlook in the people we could call our wrestling partners. And this idea he has, he says, it has a pretty wide application in our life. And think about the situations where someone says something and you know your inclination is to say something back. Those are the kinds of situations we're talking about. And also when somebody does something, because it's understandable you want to stand up for yourself. But let's think about trying something different. Why should we try to overlook what many people say and do? The first thing to note is you are taking up practicing stoicism, which means your ultimate goal, what's your ultimate destination? It's I'm going to be prudent, courageous, temperate, and just. And you know that most people don't fit in that category of being all those things. So it is a kind of a rare thing. And the way to get there is you want to work on your mind every day, and just by having these ideas and working on yourself every day, doing stoic practices, training yourself in different situations, you're going to recognize one thing. Your belief set has expanded in certain ways, and your belief set has closed down some options for yourself. In other words, by trying to become a better person, by trying to improve yourself, and not doing what most people do, which is, I want to get things from life. Give me, give me, give me, give me. Look at me. Give me these rewards. I want more money. I want more attention. All that getting. Once you start to practice stoicism, you're going to say, okay, those things can be cool, but that's not my big focus. Part of caring for your soul, caring for the state of your soul, means some things you're not going to do anymore. You're going to start cutting down on saying nasty things to people. You're going to even cut down on thinking nasty things of other people, because you want your soul to be strong. You want it to be good. You want it to be powerful. So your belief set of what you're going for is expanded, but certain things you're shrinking in your mind. And so consider the larger circle A, and someone who says something nasty back to someone who tries to win a fight with another person, that's in a smaller circle called B. And the first thing to note is somebody who says something silly or ridiculous to you, they're operating in B, which you're trying to get away from. You're trying to be better. You're not saying provoking things. If you think somebody did something, you're asking questions to find out the truth. You're not just coming back home and assuming that that jerk did that, right? Okay, so in the first thing we're saying here is you're trying to improve in general, and you're seeing this person is not trying to improve. The second and stronger thing to state about this difference between you and this other person is what how does a doctor respond when a patient says something silly about medicine? They're the doctor, they're the expert on the body. And so if you come in there with a cockamamie cure, they're just going to say, well, we don't know that that works. They're not getting angry. So when you're dealing with someone who's giving you a little trouble, and in this case, you're more like the doctor, you realize, okay, this person's in a bad condition because someone who wanted to improve their mind would not jab people, say provocative things, try to start a fight or anything like that. So try to put yourself in the position of you being a little more like the doctor and less like the patient. Now, another thing to recognize for why you should just overlook it is because your old default responses rarely work. We think if I just say this one zinger, that's going to settle the case. But what happens usually, it just continues the fight between you and the other person. So let the other person have the last word. They think it's important. You don't think it's important anymore because the Stoics say we're social beings. We are born to work with the other people. Every other person is my brother or sister. So you're get rid of your old default responses. They don't work. That's another reason for just overlooking it. Another important reason to just overlook it is the Stoics say something important. It's a little principle, but it's so important you should use it every day. And I don't see enough people talking about it. They said, turn each situation to good account. So, someone says something to get a rise out of you, someone accuses of you of something, and the more ridiculous it is, you shouldn't reply to it because if it's really ridiculous, you should just laugh it off and say, it's not that important. They're just being totally silly. That's what the adult would do. That's what the doctor would do. Turn this situation that could be you being a fool like the other person, turn this situation into you being wiser. I'm not going to get upset about this. This person's under some false impression. This person's riled up because some false beliefs they had about this is a really important issue and it's not. So turn the situation to good account means I'm going to use this person's attempt to get me going. I'm going to use this in order to train myself. Now, this connects to something I mentioned earlier. Marcus says this other person's like your wrestling partner. Epictetus says this person's your sparring partner. Here's the context in which he says this. Epictetus says, can I take any situation and benefit from it? Yes, even abuse and slander, I can benefit from that. And most people are going to say, how in the world can you benefit from that? Well, here's what he says. Boxers get the greatest benefit from their sparring partners. So make this person who's giving you a rough time, make them your sparring partner. And what benefit can I get? I'm going to train myself in civility, in giving a civilized response. And sometimes that's not responding at all. And I'm going to train myself in having an even temper, which I usually don't have. So it's great that this other person has come along. They're like my boxing partner. Now I'm training my soul. So, hey, I'm glad you came along. You're giving me a hard time. It's not going to work because I'm practicing stoicism. You're being my sparring partner, and I want to thank you for that. In fact, there's one coach out there who's a great coach, Coach Burt, and he says when somebody gives him a tough time or does something that's not too cool, he says, thank you, I owe you one. Because now I can build myself up out of the situation. Maybe internally, at least, you should thank the person. So here's what your challenge is, and it's a very simple one. Don't agree to the thoughts you have, your normal thoughts, your default thoughts, just let them pass. That's the big challenge. Don't agree or assent to those thoughts. Okay, this guy's a jerk. I got to give him a zinger. Just let it come in the mind and then pass away. Don't assent to those appearances that come before the mind. Let them go. Now, here's the last bonus part of why you should overlook what people do. And this isn't a stoic reason, but that's why it's a bonus. It actually sometimes is the coolest thing you can do. If you are Superman and a puny human is trying to beat you up, just not doing anything, totally overlooking it, that's the coolest thing you can do. As you're becoming a stronger human being, as you're becoming more powerful in your soul, yes, that can often be the coolest thing you can do. I'm totally overlooking what they say, I'm ignoring it. And when it's online, I'm just brushing past it, moving on to the next thing. That's real internal power. That's also really cool. Give me a like, give me a subscription. I want you to subscribe, give me a comment, and we'll see you in the next video.